Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, Sujata, audible. Very
Okay,
clear.
good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Okay, ma'am. You can start now, ma'am.
Yeah, how many teachers have joined, sir?
Till now, 24, 25, ma'am.
So we can wait or we can start. Shall I start?
Yes, start, because teacher 2 will join.
Okay, a very good afternoon, Principal Sir, Vice Principal, the 2 coordinators, and my dear teachers. I, Sujata Tiwary, welcome you all to the CBSE in-house training. The topic of my training is Constructivism. I'll start this session with a simple question. When you hear this word constructivism, what comes in your mind? You can unmute and answer construction. The word construction, what do you mean? What can you understand from the word constructivism, like it said, when you hear it, construct.
Build yourself.
To build. Okay, very good. Build, construct. Build means we are just, it comes in your mind like building, right? Making, constructing. So, same building and constructing we will be doing here in constructivism, but it's not constructing the building, it is constructing the knowledge. So, see, now constructivism, question mark. So many blocks are shown in this slide to build the knowledge. So knowledge is constructed by learners. Who are the constructor here? The learners. By learner as they attempt to make sense of their experiences. What does constructivism consist of? It's a scaffolding, that is giving all the necessary support needed by the student, that is primary support or basic help to the student. It helps learner to learn based on previous experiences. It is the active participation in learning process of the learners. It encourages critical thinking that causes construction of own understanding. And of course, this is learner-centered. Now, the meaning of the constructivism is a theory which says that learners construct their knowledge rather than just passively take in information. It's not like that the teacher is standing in front of the students and giving lecture or explaining, and the student passively taking it without interacting, without directly involved in that. Because since here the knowledge is constructed by the students, each student builds knowledge through experiences. So it is his or her experience. It is not just the transfer of knowledge from the teacher to the students. Since it is learning by doing, it is the learner-centered. The child creates the knowledge, the child builds the knowledge, the child constructs the knowledge. Let's see, the great Chinese philosopher Confucius, what does he say about constructivism? It is best described by Confucius, the quote with this quote, I hear and I forget. I see and I remember. I do, I understand. I hear and I forget. It's very frequently we see when we teach after 2-3 days or the same days, if the students are asked, they are unable to give any answer. I see and remember. That is, for sometimes they see and remember. After some days or some months, they forget. But when the children do the things, they understand. Like the practical work, we are taking the theory classes, the children forget. But the same children, when they are coming to the lab, they are doing experiment or the activity, they remember for long. Now, let's define constructivism. Constructivism can be defined as a learning theory which perceives that people acquire knowledge through experience. And what is this experience? Interacting with outside world and their ideas of the world around them. And then they construct the knowledge. Now, let's see who are the proponents of the constructivism or who contributed to constructivism. The first is Jerome Bruner. Second one, Jean Piaget, Lev Vygotsky, and the fourth, John Dewey. Let's discuss one by one about them. Now, Jerome Bruner, he was a very influential psychologist. His concern with cognitive psychology led to a particular interest in the cognitive development of children and just what the appropriate forms of education might be. He talked about forms of education at different mental or the cognitive development level. Like at different mental level, the forms of education should be different. For example, for class 3 student, you cannot teach Shakespeare. At the same time, naming word you cannot teach to a class 12 students. This is boring for them or they will not take interest. Similarly, when we are talking, like in chemistry if you are taking, we talk standard 5, we teach standard 5 or 6 student reversible and irreversible changes. But at the same time, we are not teaching them any chemical reaction to support these changes. The same chemical reaction we are teaching in class 10 or class 9. So this is explained by Jerome Brunner, so that this cognitive development, the education should be according to their mental development. The child standard 3 is not that much is having that much developed brain or the mental or the IQ level. He can understand the hypothesis, different principles, Archimedes principle. Like he understands that the heavy things can sink and the light things can float. But the Archimedes principle cannot be explained by the children of class 3. Now the second, Jean Piaget. He was the founder of Constructivism. He developed the cognitive learning theory. He was a psychologist. He was a biologist. He worked on his own three children, and gave this cognitive learning theory. He felt children were active learners who constructed new knowledge as they moved through different cognitive stages, building on what they already knew. That is, what is the foundation of the previous knowledge? They build the knowledge. This cognitive theory was developed after 3 processes, or this development of cognitive, like mental development, takes 3 processes named Piaget's adaptation theory. Let's see, the 3 processes work together from the birth. It goes on from the infant, children, and adulthood. So the 3 processes are assimilation, accommodation, and equilibrium. Let's see one by one. What is assimilation? Assimilation is people take in information from the outside and convert it into fit in their existing idea. It is also called in psychology schema. That is a pocket of knowledge present in our brain. So we can understand with this example, a child when sees a a mammal, it calls it fish. This is called assimilation. That he exists this idea in his brain that this is a fish. Now accommodation starts. Accommodation is what? It is the altering of previous concept in the face of new information. For example, the child who discovers that some creatures living in the water are not fish, and then correctly refer to a whale, a mammal. Like all the fish it's look like fish, but this is not mammal. So this is called accommodation. Accommodation means previous concept that this are aquatic animals are all fishes, but now it is changed that well, though it is an aquatic animal, but it is not fish. So this is accommodation, changing that previous concept. And here the learning takes place, accommodation. Then an equilibrium is set. And this is the search for balance between the previous knowledge or the previous concept and the new concept, and with changes. Sometimes it is rejected also if it is totally wrong. Like suppose you have seen a beautiful girl, and a boy sees a beautiful girl. She is very kind, she is very pretty, she is very laughing and smiling. And one day the child sees that beautiful girl is throwing stone on him. So his concept changed here. It is not modified, it is not adjusted with the previous knowledge. It is changed now that this girl is not a good girl. So that time this is accommodation. New learning is taking place. That all the good looking or pretty or smiley girl is not a good girl. So that is equilibrium. We can see with the one more example given here. See that assimilation is given. The boy or any like child saw this four-legged animal first time. In his existing schema, that is knowledge, his four-legged pet is a dog. So it is in his mind that four-legged animal is that pet is a dog. Now child calls this a dog. Now accommodation. Existing schema is four-legged pet is a dog. Now someone told or points out that this is a cat, though it has four legs. Now the accommodation comes, and then after accommodation that change came and in his mind, and then the adaptation took place. Like now he realizes that all four legs animals are not dogs. This way the child learns about different type of animals according to the habitat. Like the same habitat land animals, same thing. Like when he sees a bird flying in the sky, and again when he sees next time an aeroplane flying in the sky, the child first with this existing assimilation knowledge, he says that an aeroplane is a bird. But after, when it comes to in knowledge after accommodation, he says no, the bird is living, an aeroplane is non-living, and that accommodation, this everything that looks like a bird and flying in the sky is not bird. It is an aeroplane. So this way the learning takes place. Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development outlined by the four stages of learning. This assimilation, accommodation, and that adaptation takes place from the infant, children, and to life in adult. When we are at the age of 50, 40, we learn through these three processes. So this is the four stages which are outlined by Jean Piaget through his cognitive development theory are as follows. The four stages of Jean Piaget is sensory motor, that is from birth to 2 years old, that is from infant like 0 years to 2 years old. Second one is pre-operational stage, start from 2 years to 7 years old. Then the concrete operational stage, 7 to 11 years old, and formal operation stage is 11 onwards, 11 and up. Sensory motor stage. Senses, child here in the stage, infant stage, learn through senses, the 6 senses. The child begins to interact with the environment with this 6 senses: touch, sees, feel, taste. Like if you give to an infant, he or she takes it to its mouth. Inside that child want to eat everything. Word is not here, like language does not develop. Senses are teachers. Reflex action is there. If you touch, they will respond. As they grow, 5 to 6 months, they can, if you show an object and toy, they react it. They want to take it, grasp it. But if you remove that object, they will forget about the object. They don't remember it. This is called object permanence. That is out of sight, out of mind. Now, when they are of 10 months, 11 months, they learn crawling, standing, walking, and even they can run. Now, the second stage is pre-operational stage. In this, this stage, the child begins to represent the world with symbol and images. Operation, mental process, start with the questioning, curious. This is transductive reasoning stage also called. Here, because the child is neither deductive nor inductive, means it does not support his saying what he is saying with any evidence. Like if one says, wow, this sky is white or blue, the child is, oh, who has painted with the blue color? No reality, imagination. That is why if the child of this age playing with a doll or with any toy, they talk about as if they are living. Like, oh no, they are hungry. Mom, give me food to this also. My doll is hungry, crying, like that. Imagination. Then imitative, like, okay. Then here also yes, and sometimes they behave like the mother of the doll. They become sometimes teacher, act, behave. Egocentrism. My toy, they do not accept it that beside him, others are also exist around him. He is the supreme. Whatever he says is correct. So acceptance for the others is not seen here. So they are self-centered. They imagine themselves that what is going in and around the world is because of him only. So that egocentrism is there. Then irreversibility. They know that if 3 is added to 5, it can be 8. But at the same time, if 3 is subtracted from 8, it can be 5, that they can't tell it. So no logical thinking. Now the next is that is concrete operational stage. Now this child in the stage start thinking logically, basic, solid idea. Now they start listen to other also. Egocentrism decreases here, diminishes. Now they learn some rules also. Like before that stage, that is pre-operation stage, same volume, like suppose 50 ml of substance, 15 ml of a liquid, if it is poured in a big ball, the child which is in the age of 2 to 7 years, they will take the big ball, that he cannot judge that whether the big ball is having same amount of liquid as it is in the small ball. But this thing is corrected in the concrete operational. The child has learned here that if you're taking liquid in any utensil like a glass or a ball and some other, if you're taking 50 ml, that the concept is the learned concept of volume, area, like that. So conservation, the law of conservation they learn in this stage. They understand the quantity. Here what happened, transitivity develop, means they can relate the relationship, they can recognize it, the relationship with the various things, they can classify, they identify, differentiate, compare. So this is the concrete operational stage. Now, the last stage of this development, that is from 11 and up, this is called formal operational stage. In this stage, child developed abstract thinking, scientific thinking, rules, abstract thinking, rules, hypothesis, principles. This comes in their mind. They relate it and sometimes they derive also. Here the thinking is rational, becomes rational. They give reasons, support with the proper evidence. They can do experiments and they apply this experiment or activity or the inference result to the various situations also. This stage is also known as gang stage. Peer group is much influential here. Deductive reasoning comes. They give reason with a very significantly, very like supporting with all evidence. They give reason with all these evidences. They are hypothetical deductive reasoning they can give. Now, this age is like convergent or divergent at the same time. Divergent means from one result, from one point, from one hypothesis, can deduct number of hypotheses, principles, and they can relate it. So the divergent from one to various, and at the same time, reverse also from various to conclude to the one result, one inference. They think about future. They think about the future, their careers. They also react on the moral and social issues. Now, let's see the second proponent, that is Lev Vygotsky. He developed the social cognitive theory, which assert that culture is the prime determinant of individual development, because humans are the only creatures to have created cultures. We only creatures, human only create culture, and therefore it affects our learning development. Child's cultural upbringing greatly affects their learning development. He talked about social development. Social. He said that child learn in society when they interact with the people, with the peer group, with the at home, with their parents, with their relatives, in society, with the in classroom, with the teachers, and with other students. We many times we frequently say that the child upbringing is like that. Their culture is like that. They're coming from that culture. That is why the children are not coping with. They are not. Even the parents are also like that. They don't care of their children. They send their children like that. We are sending so many notices, but they are just all in vain. So like that. So this is the cultural upbringing which greatly affects their learning development. Now, the next is John Dewey, a pragmatist, deals with reality. He was a great educationist. He believed that learning should be engaging to the students. If they are engaged, they will learn better. If they are interested, they will get motivated and the learning will be better. There was a huge influence on our education. John Dewey, everyone has. We have done B.Ed without John Dewey. B.Ed is incomplete. All theory of educations are with John Dewey. He believed in educating the whole child. It's not only cognitive development, it's not only physical, not only mental development. So the whole child means physically, mentally, and socially. And this is not only, this is all with their activity, their engagement. It's not only just giving them dispensation of the fact and information, whatever we are giving them, they are passively accepting it or absorbing it. Now, let's see the different types of constructivism. Now, cognitive constructivism. Already we have discussed about, it is based on the work of Jean Piaget. So we have seen there the cognitive development, we have seen there assimilation, adaptation. Now, social constructivism. This was founded by the Vygotsky and based on his work. Social constructivism is a learning in a collaborative process, and we have seen here cognitive constructivism first. That is, knowledge is something actively constructed by learners based on their existing knowledge. We talked about many times that the knowledge is constructed on the basis of existing knowledge or the structure. Structure means existing structure, it is physically and mentally both. Therefore, the learning is relative to the stage of cognitive development. We had already talked about this. The second one is social constructivism. It's a learning in a collaborative process, learning in a group, learning in a society with the interaction, and knowledge developed from individuals' interaction with their culture and society. So develop from the individuals, right? Child learn when they interact with the peers, just now I said, the group, teacher, society. And the emphasis is on social interaction and culture. Here the knowledge is constructed when the interaction is taking place. So the difference between the cognitive and social constructivism is what? This cognitive constructivism emphasizes on personal experience, and this is used in constructing knowledge. But in social constructivism, emphasis is given on a social interaction and culture. This decides the social constructivism. Now, radial constructivism. It was developed by Ernst von Glasterfeld. It states that all knowledge is constructed rather than perceived through senses. Here again, the passivity is not there. The knowledge cannot be constructed by only passively grasping or absorbing. It is constructed by the involvement. Learners construct new knowledge on the foundation of their existing knowledge. Now, we will see what are the principles of constructivism. The first one, sorry. Knowledge is constructed rather than innate or passively absorbed. It is not innate, already is by born. They are constructing, the children are constructing through their experiences, through their interaction, through on the basis of previous, but it is not innate, it is not inborn. Or at the same time, it is not passively absorbed. Here the learners are the active participation. They learn through active participation. In the second one, it is already learning is an active process. Learning is active process. It's so when they are active, when they like if they are doing something, they are learning more. So this is active to the kinesthetic, bodily, or through cognitive. If they are active, drawing it, remembering it, the same thing. Like they are doing it, they learn in a better way. All knowledge is not socially constructed. Means the knowledge is learned in a society, in a group, in a peer, through interaction. Through interaction with one another and the principle, and with others also. So they learned, and the development, they learn through the discussion, they learn through debating, problem solving skills. So this all they do in a group discussion, that is, this is socially constructed, as Vygotsky says in his social constructivism. All knowledge is personal. Knowledge is personal because constructivism is based on your own experience and beliefs. So people learn and gain from education will be very differently. It's a very common example when teach in the same chapter. If we teach in the class, the different students come up with the different answer, with the different understanding, with the different knowledge. At the same time, same topic is if it taught by the different teacher, again the understanding, again the learning, again the knowledge construction are different. Why? Because the knowledge is personal. It is their understanding. It is their experience. Because here in constructivism, the knowledge is based on learners' previous experiences, knowledge, their individual differences, how they learn. Now, learning exists in mind. This means the learning need to involve activities for the mind, not only hands-on activity. So, learning exists in mind means remembering, analyzing, critical thinking. These learnings are need mind. It is not just our hand. So, this learning exists in mind. Why constructivist classroom? Now, why constructivist classroom needed? Because 21st century learners live in rapidly changing technology. They know more than us. Every answer is at the tip of the tongue. Now we are correcting the paper. We can see the answers. We have never taught. We have never heard. The answers are coming from the Google. Advanced mode. So for that, the only lecturing and only passively teaching the child, if you are not involving the children in our lesson plan, in our teaching learning process, so now no more motivation is there. The children will be not be interesting in their teaching learning process. Now the learners are hands-on learners who enjoy social interaction. It's not like they isolate the child and teach. They will be not interesting. It's very example. If you are giving them project, so they are just what to do, if they're thinking, okay, roll number 1 to 5, given to, like on the brain you have to make the model, then heart model is given to else ones. So they exchange their idea. They love to do the things in the group. So social interaction is needed. Now, work in diverse diverse multicultural classroom, because the students come from different cultural background. They are coming with a different idea. Again, the individual differences with the different ideas, with the different knowledge, with the different existing knowledge, they are coming to classroom. So this is very important that we use this constructivism in our classroom, or we can make the constructivist classroom. By doing this, what happened? We are engaging it. They are they are actively participating. They are equally engaged in the teaching learning process. Now, constructivist classroom, some characteristics are there. Let's see. According to Andrew, the characteristic of constructivist classrooms are as follows. The learners are actively involved. The environment is democratic. The teachers as well as students are equally responsible. They do their experiment. They come with their they are doing that procedure. They are coming with their inference, their result, their ideas. Teacher has to guide it that the children are doing in a right way or not, or providing the necessary help to them to come up with their ideas, encouraging them to come with their ideas. The activities are interactive and student-centered. The teacher facilitate a process of learning in which students are encouraged to be responsible and autonomous. They are responsible when they are doing. It's not like that. Here the teacher's role is very important to see that they are doing it, the activities or the knowledge is constructed, if they are doing it seriously, they are taking responsible, and they are in a self-control, and their like self-discipline and self-control. That is also very important. It's not like otherwise the whole class will be a disaster. Now, what are the different type of activities in constructivist classroom can be done? Experiments. We can provide them different materials like uh, chemical materials. We can provide them lab equipments, lab environment, and they will do their experiment. They will do, the theory will be given to them. They will proceed with them. They will write the result. They will comment with them, and they tell the results and inference with the chart paper, with the presentation or this. So they will do the experiment. We will define the theory, what is the theory principle of that experiment, and they are given that we will give them experiment and activity. They will do this. Research and project. Here the children will discover, the projects are given on the topics, and they will do the project and discover their knowledge, discover their ideas, and come up with the new ideas. Field trip. We can organize field trip. We will take to some we had also done so many times excursion for the biology students to collect some specimen, to see different type of animals, sea animals or water animals, aquatic, studying about their features, their characteristics, writing journal on it. And we have field trips like we had also taken to our student to zoo, to the zoo for that experience. Now films can be given. Films can be given like documentary films, educational films. Then the class discussion divided into different groups, give them topic, they will discuss, they will share their ideas, then they come up with the final decision. They will write it in a paper and come up with this final result and the final answer. Now, what should be the role of teacher in a constructivist class? In the constructivist classroom, the teacher role is to prompt and facilitate discussion. If they have given the group discussions, we encourage them to, like it's not that the one child is speaking and other childs are listening. No, every child should speak on that topic. They share their idea, they come up, the work is divided, the work distribution will be there. Like one point, suppose given everyone has to come up with the one point, with the one diagram, with the one procedure, with the one result, like that. And then after concluding that result, the teacher's main focus should be on guiding students by asking questions. It will lead them to develop their own conclusion on the subject. Now, these all activities, class activities, are based on the 5 E's instructional model by Rosa Bybee. These 5 E's instructional model are engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and the last one is evaluate. Let's see one by one. The first one is engage. Students' interest is picked. Spelling of it is wrong. Students make connections with prior experience and understanding. And this is connected with that understanding. For example, if I have to teach flower, The students, a group of students, the students are divided into group and 5 different type of flowers are given to them. Now the students are engaged. They have to learn about the flowers. So they will draw the pictures of the flower. They will see the colors of the flowers, and they identify the which type of. This is the students' engagement at their interest. So their interest is picked up. They're taken it. Now then the next one. This is explore. Exploring is the hands-on activity. Now it is asked that the number of, now the students are counting the number of petals in each flower. They are sharing their ideas also. Like that, in one flower, 5 petals are there, 4 petals are there, in more than 5 petals are there. So many petals are there, different colors spread. So they are doing with the activities. Now they are drawing it and labeling it. So this type, and then coming with the ideas and the hypothesis, the different parts of the flower, they are naming it. So that is, and they are testing it. Testing in the different variables, that is in different flowers, they identifying that parts and coming with the ideas, and all the flowers have not same type of petals, not same type of endosium and gynoecium. The next one is explaining. Now I have identified that they have to identify the question. They know. Now they're explaining in the group. Now suppose a group of the children have got China rose. So now they are explaining it about there's a 5 petals, the long one, this one, the stigma, and different parts. So that is the explanation. They are coming with this, and they are in a collaborative fashion and working in a group. One child is explaining about the flower, the others are swimming, the others are explaining, the one is listening, like that they are listening to each other, explaining to each other. Now the fourth one is extending. Now they are generalizing that the flowers are this main part, some parts are reproductive part, some parts are protection like the petals and sepals. Now they are generalizing it into the situation, different situation in different flower, and coming with that different idea and concluding it. Now they are very thorough that this flower has this part and these are the function of this flower. Now next, evaluating. Now children are writing the different parts. They are coming and reflecting on it, what they have learned. They have learned that the China rose 5 petals are there. If they have in the flower, it may be more than 5 or not. 5 petals, the color is red, if the flower is red. Then they are writing different function of in different parts. So that is, and maybe presentation with the presentation or demonstrating it. Now let's see the video.
The 5Es model is based on theory and research that shows students learn best when they're allowed to work out explanations for themselves, from their direct experiences and with the support of their teacher. Each unit begins with a phase designed to create interest and stimulate curiosity. This phase is known as the engage phase. In this initial phase, the teacher asks open questions to draw out what students already know or think they know. Students ask questions, write, draw, and act out their understandings.
I think this seed isn't alive because it was in a packet and Seeds can't grow in packets.
Hearing what the students think they know at this early phase helps the teacher take account of students' ideas and adapt following activities to build on their prior knowledge. Next, students explore by engaging in hands-on activities. Students' questions and observations are described in their own words. The explore phase allows students to acquire a common set of experiences that they can use to help each other make sense of the new concept or skill.
My one's not really healthy. My one's this one's very big. Doesn't look healthy. Doesn't smell healthy. Whoa, mine's got roots. Well, this one's been in a dark box all day and now it smells really bad and I don't like the smell.
Only after students have explored the concept through their own hands-on experiences and discussions does the teacher provide the scientific terms used to develop explanations. In the explain phase, opportunity is made for the students to listen to each other's explanations and to the teacher. After discussion, a literacy product is created to represent findings.
I've just finished doing our seed germination diary. We made a presentation with PowerPoint. We're doing it on baby seeds, how they grow.
In the next phase, elaborate, opportunities are provided for students to apply what they have learned to new situations through planning and conducting an investigation supported with an investigation planner. It's important in this phase to make sure students keep organised records of their observations. This will support students to analyse and reflect on their findings. Explanations are reconstructed and extended through integration with written language, diagrammatic and graphic examples, and mathematics.
I can show you my diagram here. I've done two. And on this one, I had to label it and colour it. But on this one, you just draw yours because we did it in groups. So there were 3. But this one's just mine.
In the final phase, evaluate, students review and reflect on their own learning and new understandings. Students create a new literacy product representing their understanding and providing evidence supporting their new ideas.
So just we have seen in the video that germination of seed, the teachers have engaged, that 5 is engaged, and the children how they are engaged, they explain it and evaluate it. Now we'll see the traditional classroom versus constructivist classroom. Traditional classroom, here the strict fixed curriculum is there and learning is based on repetition. In constructivist classroom, interest is valued, and traditional one is teacher-centered. Constructivist class is student-centered. Teacher gives the information passively to the student, but in constructivist classroom, here the learners are active learners. The knowledge is given actively by active participation. In traditional, teacher's role is directive, rooted in authority, but teacher's role is here in constructivist class, interactive, rooted in negotiation. Now the benefits. Children learn more and enjoy learning, promote divergent thinking from one to many, various. Education works best when it concentrates on thinking and understanding rather than memorization. Boost the confidence of learners. Constructivism concentrates on how to think and understand. Promote collaborative learning. Constructivism gives students ownership. He is the master, he is the builder. Since learning is based on student, engaging the creative instinct develops students' abilities to express knowledge through a variety of ways. Constructivism promotes social and communication skills by creating a classroom environment that emphasizes. Now some weaknesses are also there. The biggest disadvantage is the lack of structure, because some students need highly structured, because in their own because it is the learning is their on their pace. Okay, so their by their knowledge, by their construction, so it takes time. No particular structure is there, no fixed curriculum is there. So some students need highly structured environment in order to be able to excel. Due to lack of a standardized curriculum, some students fall behind slow learners. Evaluation for teacher is not easy because no grading is there. Now conclusion. Constructivist teaching fosters critical thinking and creates active and motivated learners. A constructivist approach frees teachers to make decisions. Constructivist teaching and learning is a beautiful experience if done with right attitude and happy mind. With this, I conclude my this training or session. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you. कैसे आएगा? Thank you. Thank you. किसको बोलूं? हटा दो. I don't want to do it. Thank you, Twinkle. Thank you, Masini. Thank you, Shashikala. Thank you, Sumita.
Sujata teacher, very well done. Nicely presented and good topics you have covered.
Thank you.
Well, Sujata, well done. But for me, it was a first experience. I thought it is to do with maths and it is to do with construction, but it was a different exposure altogether. Though I had to leave in and come out, joining again and again, but very good, very well explained and good. We need to learn more about this concept of learning.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Silpa.
For me, this was a first time experience, first time I went through this. So
Okay,
good, well done.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Arvind. Sir, thank you, Shilpa. Thank you. Chaitali, please mark your attendance and fill the assessment form. Thank you. Arvind sir already sent that assessment form. Please fill it up and mark your attendance. Thank you.